Hello everyone. Today it's the second video of the series How to Start Learning a Language. I want to talk about the different methods that I use to learn languages. So I'm going to tell you my story with each language, with my story with my mother tongue, my story with English, French, Spanish, Chinese, German, Korean, etc. But the first story is going to be about my mother tongue because this is the most interesting story about learning language. I feel like it's it's so funny, but you're gonna see why I always speak about immersion, why listening is so important. This story is going to tell you that. So let's go. Haha. So the first story, my mother tongue. In Africa, because of colonization, I say because trust me, it was nothing good for us, and it's still nothing good for us. I'm not going to talk about politics, anything. I don't really like that, but it's a fact. I mean, it's better when you are born and you are totally yourself, fully yourself. You speak your language. You're in your culture. You have your own reality. I mean, other people have it, but we African, we don't have it. Let's be truth. Anywho, when I was in Africa, I used to be confused, because my parents, especially my mom, she would speak the Wawle language because we are Wawle people, like from Western Africa, and she would speak this language with her brothers and sisters, and she would speak French to me or my cousins. So I was a bit confused, but when I was there, I didn't speak the language because they wouldn't teach us the language. Or it's because it's better to speak French than this, but um I thought it was a bit confusing to me. It was confusing anyway. Then we came to France, and well, I used to live in boarding school. Then I came back to Paris and I lived with my mom for a few years. I lived with her for 5 years. Yeah, if it's right, like 5 years. Yeah. And I would hear her speak the language, the Wali language, our mother tongue. She would always speak it on the phone because this is how she talks on the phone with her friends, with her brothers and sisters. She's always speaking this language to other people, but never to me, unless she's angry or anything. We all know that. Um, so 5 years later, after listening, that was pure passive immersion. I was just listening to her. I never spoke this language, never. I had never, never been able to speak the language because she never taught me the language. So one afternoon, she was on the phone and she was talking to her friend. They were laughing and talking about funny things. And I was sitting at my desk. I was eating, and then she said something. It was about a guy or something like that. And I burst into I started to laugh. I laughed so hard. And my mom, she was so surprised. She was like, "You understand what I just said?" And I was like, "Yeah, I understand." And I translated in French. I said, "This is what you said." And she was like, "Oh my god, you understand that? But how come you even understand this language? I never taught this language to you. I never speak this language to you unless I'm angry. I don't even know how you came to even translate this language." And she told her, "Oh, I have Asieusuba in my mother tongue. It's like a genius or um yeah, a genius or a type of monster, something that's completely impossible. So she was so surprised. So I wanted to tell you this story because this is the first step when we learn a language, when I speak about immersion and the natural way. You are exposed to the language even though you don't know how to speak it. You get your exposition to the language on a daily basis, but you don't know how to speak it. This is what happened to me with my first language. And it was, I don't know, it's this is something I wanted to share with you guys. you have so many methods to learn languages, you know. You have several methods, but to me this one is the best. It's the best method for learning language. I mean, like to start learning a language at first, you know. If you don't know the language, it's better to listen to the language, you know. So like the second parts of this video, it's going to be about my relationship with English. So this is the second part, and I'm going to tell you my story with the English language. And you're gonna see I've been confused a lot when I was younger. So, as you know, we've been colonized by so many countries. So in Ivory Coast we speak French, and in Ghana, Accra, they speak English, and Kenya and other countries. But me, I went to Accra because my mom was working at an international organization, and her friends were Anglophones from Ghana. So I used to go there on vacation because my mom wanted me to learn English. So we went to Accra, and I was confused because it was the first time for me to see people like me who didn't speak French, you know. So like you'd see like people who are just like you, but like you can't go and say, oh, bonjour, salut. You can do that because they're not gonna understand what you mean. So I was a bit confused. But I started to love the language because I wanted them to understand me. I wanted to speak with them. I wanted to talk to them. So there's one thing I wanted at the time is to speak English, you know. So lucky me, I don't know if it's luck. Yeah, it's luck because now I can speak the language. My aunt, she would forbid us to speak French. So when we play, she would be like, oh, we'd be playing like on the courtyard, and she would come and say, oh, no French, no French. And we wouldn't speak French, you know. Like if I didn't know a word or something, I would just mimic it, you know, make signs, and she would give me the words in English, and or we would just whisper, how do you say this in English? And it was so cute because we were so young. We were like 4 or 5 years old at the time. And so I continued to learn the language. Like the first year in Accra, we stayed 3 months, and the whole time I didn't speak English. I was just listening, you know. So I think I'm the type of person who learns languages more through immersion, you know. I think this is me, you know. But for you guys, I can't tell. This is for you to determine this, you know. Anyway, so I listened to the language. I was immersing myself. I just listened to what they were saying, and at the end of the vacation, we went back to Ivory Coast. My mom had this dinner, welcome back dinner, you know, and we pulled a trick, you know. My friend and I, we pulled a trick. We were like, okay, we are just going to speak in English. We're not gonna speak French, and we're gonna see how they're gonna react. And even my aunt, she was surprised because when we were in Ghana, I didn't speak English, you know, and she heard me speak English for the first time in Ivory Coast, like at the end of the vacation. And my mom, she was so she was happy, but she was scared because she was like, oh my God, she doesn't speak French anymore. How am I gonna do that? How is she going to go to school? What are we gonna do? And like, it was so funny. Anyway, but like this was the story. This is the story I had with English when I was younger. This is how I started my whole journey to learning languages and to loving to learn languages, you know. And after Ghana, I used to go to Ghana a few times, like a couple times, a couple times. And then when I was 10, my dad said, okay, well, you're gonna go to England. So that was my first time in Europe. Oh my God, the shock. So I was 10 at the time. Yeah, I was 10. And I traveled to England with my brothers, but I went to a boarding school, and they went to a host family. And well, it was so fun because when I arrived at the airport, I lost my luggage. So but I have my money because I have like this little bag, and we went to the camp, and I went shopping with the people from the camp, you know. and I was the only African there, but I never felt left out, you know. I never felt alone there. I felt at home. Like, it was amazing. I learned so much. I met people from around the world. I met my first Korean people there. I also met my first Russian people, my first French people, because like we speak French in Africa, but I wasn't seeing French people all the time. I think we saw them on TV, you know. I met people from around the world, and I was like, this is the life that I want, you know. I want to be meeting people around the world and speak the language, share with them. But there was one episode, the one thing that happened during that summer camp that made me like, I loved English, and I came to understand that English is an international language, and this is the language I should speak when I travel, you know, so that I can be myself and speak English, which is like a global language. You can be yourself and speak a global language. This is okay, you know, so that you can make yourself understand in the language and share who you are with other people, you know. I'm going to tell you that with my in my story with the French language. This is in part 3. Haha. So part 3, my story with the French language. Oh my god. So I don't think French people are gonna like this story, but anyway, it's the truth. And I'm here to share my genuine experience with languages with you guys, so that you can see how I became a polyglot, and you can pick some methods. Until part 3, we are talking about immersion, and you're gonna see that I'm very focused on immersion. I mean, without immersion, I don't think it's possible to learn a language. Trust me. So my story with the French language. So it's not a language that I chose to speak. This language came to our country with colonization. We didn't choose to speak this language. So I cannot say that it's my mother tongue, because I have a mother tongue. Even though the whole world don't know that, I don't care. But I have my own mother tongue. French is just a language that came to our continent. The same with English and other languages. Imagine you're French or English, and tomorrow you start speaking like Russia, come to your country and say, now you speak Russian, you don't speak French anymore or English anymore. You are forbidden to speak French or Russian or English, you see. This is what happened, you know. This is the truth. So when I traveled to England, you know, when you live in a boarding, you live in a camp, summer camp, you have a lot of activities, you know, where you need to you need to introduce your country, your culture, the place where you come from, and everything, you know. But I made a mistake when I arrived to the camp the first year, you know. When I arrived to the camp, I was the only African, like, from Africa, because you go to the camp in groups, you know. You have the French group, you have the Korean group, the Russian group, and so on, you know. But I was the only African, but in my group I was the only one, you know. But they knew that I was speaking French. They knew that in my country they speak French. So we had to introduce our country, and I don't know if they didn't want to I don't know what happened. They asked me to join the French group to present France. You know, like, literally I can see myself presenting the baguette as I'm telling you this story, you know. To me it was a huge, like, I was 10 at the time, and I was shy when I was younger. I was extremely shy. So I didn't dare to speak up or to say something, you know. This is something that wouldn't happen today, you know. But at the time I was young, I was alone, and, well, I felt, okay, let's go with it. Let's go with the flow, you know. But to me it was a huge humiliation. And this is something I would never let happen again. That's why I don't speak French on social media. I don't speak French because to me it's like, well, it's a language that I speak in France when I go to work and everything, but aside from this, I have a whole life about languages, and in the world of languages, English is an international language, and I feel like when I speak English, I can speak to more people. I can have access to like a bigger crowd. You know, I can share more things with people, and well, I feel more comfortable speaking English. You know, that was the story, the point with the French language. So like, when you ask me how to learn French, how to do this, I actually I actually don't know how to learn French because I didn't came to learn the language. Well, I spoke it. I've been speaking French for 30 years. We speak the language in my country. But I can give you the books that I use to improve in French, especially in like written expression, because of the translation and everything. I use a lot of books, but I don't know much. Trust me, I don't know much about the French language, even though I live in France. And I think maybe it's because I don't know why, honestly, but I feel like you share a certain relationship with languages. This is how I came to develop certain methods for learning languages, you know. But I feel like you have um, a certain relationship, a certain feeling, there's this vibration that makes you embrace a language as a whole, you know. But I don't have that relationship with French. I don't know why. I never knew why. Um, that's why I don't speak French on social media. I haven't been speaking French on my social media ever since I was uh, ever since social media exists, ever since the first blogs, you know, MySpace and all of these things. I've always had my social media in English, you know. So mainly because English is an international language, and to me it's important to to have a perfect command of this language. Anyway, but I will do my best to give you some good materials to get you started with the French language, especially movies and TV shows. Not that much because we're all American culture, so you imagine that I'm not really into French culture either. But some good shows, like authentic movies and shows, French shows, are pretty interesting, and I will share it with you on Instagram. So that was it for my story with the French language. Now we are going to have the part 4 with the Spanish. Hey! So now this is part 4 with my story with Spanish. Oh my god. That was like a love and hate relationship with Spanish, you know. Because I started learning Espanol when I was in high school. When I was like 14 years old. Yeah, we were here in France. Yeah, we started learning Spanish at the time. It was 15 years ago, you know. But I hate the method, like in school. Sometimes I had like great teachers where they would give you this amazing topics to discuss in Spanish. They would give you the best activities and you would be interested, you know. But I wasn't that interested in Spanish because I chose Spanish because I thought it would be easy to learn, you know, because in France, when you get 14 years old, you have to choose in school which second foreign language you want to learn. So it was either Spanish or German. And at the time, everybody was like, oh, German is so difficult. Oh my god, it's so complicated. So I was like, okay, I'm going to choose Spanish. It's going to be easier. And it's a bit like French. So I think it's going to be okay. Oh my god. No, it's not. Because, like I said, I didn't learn French. And I think if we weren't made to speak that language in my country, I wouldn't have learned the language because it's difficult. A lot of verbs and oh my god, it's too complicated. And I came to understand that while learning Spanish, because it's the same Latin language, a Romance language, like they call it in English. And um, so like Spanish is not easy. You have to learn the verbs, the grammar, and a lot of things. And unlike English, um, our teachers weren't that interested in teaching Spanish. This was my observation. They would just focus on the grammar, the verbs, the exercises, like a lot of exercise. I had this teacher who would give us like papers like that, like chunks of papers just of exercises, like filling the blanks, do this, do that. It was so annoying. I hate it. So like I was like, okay, well, I managed to speak English well, the way I speak it. I'm not saying that my English is the perfect in the world, but I'm still learning, but I think it's not that bad. Um well, I could use the same method to learn Spanish, and that's what I did. Um I took I went on the internet. I went to the internet and I discovered the telenovelas. Oh my god. That was like the best day of my life. I started watching movies, telenovelas in Spanish, like South American, and then Spanish. There was like a good show, two of them actually, in Spain, from Spain. It was one with Monica Cruz, the Penelope Cruz little sister, and the other one was something in high school. I forgot the name. It's been a while now, but if I remember that, I'm going to put that on Instagram so that you can get inspired. But that's how I started actually speaking Spanish. I started to do immersion, a lot of immersion, but it was hard because I started on the wrong foot with the language. So I wasn't really into it until I went to Barcelona. And when I got to Barcelona, I didn't speak Spanish either. I was only speaking English with Americans, and because it's an international crowd, so like obviously if they're from Sweden and Denmark or like the Netherlands, or I don't know, we're all gonna speak English together. Even if you're from China, or we're in Barcelona, like if you don't speak Spanish, English is going to be the language. So I just practiced my English in Barcelona. And when I came back to France, and I was like, no, I have to I have to do something for just Spanish, because it's one of the most important language in the world. I mean, you have Chinese, you have English, and then you have Spanish. I need to have a perfect command of the three major languages in the world. So I was like, okay, I need to find a way to speak Spanish. So again, it was immersion. So like every day until today, I always listen to podcasts in Spanish. Always podcasts, documentaries. Sometimes when I go to bed at night and I can't sleep, the first thing I do is like I grab my iPad, and I'm like, okay, I want to watch a documentary in Spanish on YouTube. So I go and check documentales en español, and I see that I watch it. I watch a lot of documentaries all in Spanish. This is how I started speaking the language. And I was like, with my Instagram page, I started making small videos and chit chat, and I felt like, okay, this is the way for me to practice the language. This is actually how I'm going to practice the language, by like making videos on Instagram, so that I can have like the feedbacks of Spanish people. So that's amazing. And what can I say about you starting learning Spanish? Immersion, honestly, for each language that I have, it's been through immersion. I've been able to speak these languages at that level through immersion. I do absolutely everything in my languages. So like this is going to be the word for conclusion. So let's get to part 5 with the Chinese language, which is a pretty interesting story. Hey. So part 5, Chinese. So like Chinese Mandarin, what can I say about this language? So I started learning, like my first contact with the language was in 2011. It was my first year of university, and I was, well, I didn't know what I wanted to study. I knew I wanted to study languages, but the way it was taught at the university, I really didn't like it. But well, I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try, and we had to choose a third language because I had French, English, Spanish, and I had to choose this a third class. You know, it was either one language, one foreign language, or math. And obviously, not that I don't know how to count, but I prefer languages. Let's say that. I'm just gonna put it that way so that you don't think I'm dumb. Anyway, so I picked Mandarin Chinese. Why? I didn't know at the time. But I was like, well, it's a new language. I wasn't gonna pick like a language from Eastern Europe, you know. Well, no offense, but I wasn't really interested in Eastern Europe, so obviously I wasn't gonna learn Romanian or Polish, you know. So I chose Mandarin Chinese, and I felt like, well, it's interesting, it's new. The characters, I would love to learn how to write the characters, and I had always been interested in China in some way, you know, because in Ivory Coast we used to watch kung fu movies. This was the movies. These were the movies that we were really into when I was in Africa, you know, when I was in Ivory Coast. And well, but like, okay, it's time for me to learn about this big country. I mean, it's far away, it's exotic. I mean, it's something new. And I love to do at that time it was 2011, so learning Chinese was completely, oh my god, this is so weird. Like, people was like, why would you learn Chinese? Even my dad, he was like, why do you want to learn this language again? I was like, well, I don't know, it's new, it's different, and I love to be different, you know. So I want to learn this language, I want to know more about this country. So I started learning Chinese, and I was pretty good at it. I like it, and my teacher really liked me. Um, Sorry, I had to cut it because my mom was giving me a call. Anywho, so I was saying, my teachers really liked me, my Chinese teachers, and I really liked my classes, but something was missing. And at the time, my teachers, they were like, oh, you have to watch movies in Chinese, you have to watch like Chinese TV just to immerse yourself in the language. And at the time, I didn't know what was immersion, you know. I was just I wasn't gonna watch a movie in Chinese while I was more into like Gossip Girls and I don't 90210, this type of things, you know. So I wasn't gonna abandon this to go and watch Chinese movies, you know, because in my head it was more about kung fu movies, so I wasn't really interested. So well, I was just learning Chinese in class, and I saw no evolution howsoever. Really, it was so I couldn't even speak the language. The only thing I could say was like 你好再见. It was like the only things I could say in Chinese. But I went to in 2016. I went to Barcelona. That was the year I was living in Barcelona, and I was a college dropout because I dropped out of college, and I flew to Spain. I wanted I fled to Spain. I wanted to take a break, and so when I was in Spain, I was hit by a certain reality. You know, it was after, you know, the 2008 economic crisis, and I was like, oh wow, the young people, they were just having a bad time. They like really a bad time. They didn't have like certain opportunities, you know. And I was like, no, you have these opportunities. You're not alone. You need to like pull yourself back together and go back to France, go back to school and do something, you know. So when I got back to France, I applied to Chinese classes online, because I wanted to go back to university, but my application was denied. And I said, okay, I need leverage. I need something more. I need something that it's gonna make my application valuable. So I started learning Chinese. So in 2016, it was at the end of 2016, like in October, something like that. I was working part time, so I made the decision to work part time so that I could study Chinese. And every day, when I say every single day, I was doing like 3 hours, 4 hours of Chinese. I was studying Chinese like a crazy person every day for 3 to 4 hours, sometimes more. And I started watching dramas, listening to music. I started to do everything that I was doing in English. I started to do it in Chinese Mandarin. 6 months later, because I had like some good foundations in the language. So like 6 months later, I took the HSK test 1 and 2, and I scored like 199 out of 200. Like that was the HSK 2. The HSK 1 I scored 994. No, 194 out of 200. So like in 6 months, I was studying Chinese every day, like 3 to 4 hours. In 6 months, I was already at like level A2. I could speak like basic. I could have like basic conversations with Chinese people here in Paris when I used to go to the restaurant, and they would be like, yeah, wait, 你会中文? Like you can speak Chinese, but like you've been to China, and I was like, no. And well, that was amazing. I was so proud of myself, and I got into like university, a year after that. No, like 6 months after that, because it was October, June 2017, and in September 2017, I was back to school. My application was accepted, and I went back to university. And I had that episode with a teacher, a Chinese teacher at the university. I went to see her, and I was like, okay, I'm studying English, Spanish, but I wanted to see if I could attend your class, just like on my own time, if I can come and just see what methods you use to teach Chinese. And she was like, have you been to China? And I was like, no, I haven't been to China, but I can tell you that I can, like, I'm learning the language of myself. I can speak Chinese, and I want to learn more. I want to learn more methods. She was like, if you haven't been to China, your level is not accurate. You cannot say that you can speak Chinese if you've never been to China. And I was like, okay, you know what? It's okay if I can't go to your class. I said thank you, and I swore to myself I would be able to speak Chinese here in France without going to China. I mean, the day I'm gonna set foot in China, I'm gonna be able to speak a full, fluent Chinese. This is like a promise that I made to myself after that episode, after that event with this teacher. I was like, okay, I can't go to China for now. I don't have the money to go. Like, the only thing I can do is invest in online classes, and this is the only thing I can afford. I can only buy books, and my most valuable asset is time. It's my time. So making this decision to work part time, not earn a lot of money, just to focus on my languages, is a decision that I made, and I'm proud of it, because I know why I'm investing all my time and energy in languages. And today we see the position of China in the world, and learning Chinese has become mandatory. It's good to know English, but like in the face of globalization, being able to speak English is like it's like you have to speak English, at the highest level of proficiency. And then you speak Chinese at like a mid level, not that high, but like you can express yourself enough in Chinese to make translations interpretations and to do trades, you know. So like this is my goal. And you know, the people who are like making fun of me when I started learning Chinese, today they don't make fun of me anymore because everybody's learning Chinese. They knew I was right, and it was like 10 years ago. It was in 2011. So like this is it. If you want to learn Chinese, one thing again, immersion. You need to make time for it, and you need to do a lot of immersion. You need to listen to the language. You've seen from the first part of this until this part, we've seen one method, which is immersion. I mean, if you want to learn a language with me, it's going to be through immersion, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And I hope I'm going to be I'm going to help you. So next language, I'm not gonna make part for this German or Korean, because these are the languages I'm learning at the moment, and these are the languages you're gonna see me learn. You're gonna walk me through this path. You're gonna be with me. But what I can say is German is a pretty difficult language, but I think it's more because I don't put in the energy. I know that I'm not gonna make up excuses. It's because I don't put in the energy. That's why I'm not able to speak German. But I've been doing a lot of immersion lately, and it's starting to get better. So well, in Korean, it's been 90 days. So no comments. We have our whole life to speak Korean. So like if you have any questions, any comments, like put it in the comments section, and I'm gonna answer it to you. Tomorrow it's going to be another video. I don't know about what yet, but it's going to be fun. Just like today, I'm just going to be real, and I don't even have a script, you know. I'm just telling you the things the way they are, you know. And if you have any question or anything else, just put it in the comments. I'm going to answer. I'm going to do my best to answer. And well, thank you guys. Bye bye.